So Paul, I'm just going to shift now, just to talk about the GREX specifically. You are one of the founding members, if you like. So tell us about GREX. How did it come about? What or who was the driving force behind it?
Yeah, there's lots of incredible people like Patricia Painter, Kirsten Johansson, other people who have been in this space for a lot longer than I have and done some incredible work. But I think Ken Weiland from the University of Illinois was the first person to really sustain his passion to get people together. And so it was Ken and a couple of other people who, and I don't want to miss anyone out, who was able to continue over a period of 3 or 4 years at informal meetings to get people together, knowing that there were lots of different people who were doing their own research. So that was the idea. And it was just about, as we know, leaving our egos at the door and just sharing and promoting and supporting. And so when he got people like Clara Bohm, Stephanie Thompson from Canada, people like João Viana from Portugal, Alice Smith's group from the UK, and he was just to keeping on with this sort of group, Jen McRae from Calgary as well. So this sort of group, and to keep them going, because many people do lots of different stuff in lots of different areas. So that was sort of the group, and basically it was lucky that we were sort of communicating, in that group, and we were all passionate, and we all sort of tried to keep our egos at the side and say, let's bring this together. And there were several of us that got different bits of funding, and that's the hard bit, to make sure it keeps going. Once we got some funding, we were able to get a little bit more funding, but we don't have a lot of money. We just basically do stuff. We need a bit of money to keep it all together. So to have a project officer, and that was the next step, and that was the really important step, to have someone who's not the renal researcher, not the people with the ideas, but someone to keep us going. And that's vital for this group, because we're a bunch of loose people who just go all over the place, do what we want, and GREX sort of keeps us on the same path.
Awesome. So I know that GREX is still very young in terms of how long it's been going for, but are there any sort of noticeable changes you've seen from those early beginnings to where it is now?
I think it was a great thing to have our first meeting in Calgary just before COVID hit, and that would really face-to-face thing helped us gel. We know, you have a face-to-face meeting, you get to know people better. Unfortunately, that's missed out a little bit over the last couple of years, and hopefully we'll get that back together again. But now we've got this thing where we can stick together. We've got some sort of a label, I suppose, that brings us together like a little club. But anyone can join that club if you're interested, and that's the important thing. And I think that's the most important thing, is we keep it at that level. No one owns GREX, absolutely no one. It's just a group it's a network, and we're fine with that. That might look different in 10 years' time, who knows? But it is a network, and we're all about promoting physical activity, physical function, exercise for people with kidney disease, and that's it. And to improve our understanding and our research of it, we need to have strong, I suppose, if we had leaders, we do have leaders who are the organising committee, who need to keep that going. I think we also, one of our challenges will be to make sure that we keep on moving forward and having a change in that moving group, because we all get stale at a certain time in what we're doing.
You kind of almost semi-answered my next question, which was, what does the next 5 years look like for the GREX?
Who knows? And that's the exciting thing. So we've had GREX Young, and the great thing about GREX Young is that we have no idea what you guys come up with, and we have no expectations, and so you've already exceeded. As a GREX Young group, we've already exceeded the expectations that we might have had, but it's a sort of a formal way of ensuring that, hey, young people are way more important than old people, because you've got far more of your career to go, and you'll make a very big difference down the track. So in 5 years' time, we're hoping to develop this curriculum and a renal exercise professional course that the whole of the GREX team, led by Ken Weiland, have been developing. And of course, you know, that's going at its own pace, but hopefully we'll get something out there. Potentially more clinical practice recommendations. So we have the peritoneal dialysis recommendations, and potentially we might be in that space as well. But of course, the fact that there's not a lot of research out there for a lot of different things is something that we'll have to deal with. But I think also just having engagement with someone from potentially every country in the world with a kidney program. So that's what I'd love. You know, so to have GREX, there's a map of GREX countries on the website, and to hopefully have that filled in with as many countries as possible, because we know people are doing stuff in their own place, and we'd like to learn and we'd like to share experiences and try and help people as a group together. Because sometimes when you're an exercise researcher in the renal space, you think you're maybe the only person doing it, and so I think that's important. Language is an issue to a certain extent, but on the other hand, we seem to get through that pretty well.
Just got to mention, Paul, you are equally important, and I still need you around. Just a few personal questions just to finish off with. So we know you as the exercise researcher, nurse, bit of a character. Away from all this, okay, who is Paul? What keeps you busy when you're not being Superman?
So I, like many of us in the GREX space, in the exercise space, we do like our sport. So yeah, I do like a nice cycle around Adelaide. So Adelaide is a fantastic place to ride your bike. Got great hills, and so my perfect day is having a nice ride on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, getting home and lying on the couch and watching either Australian football, so AFL Aussie rules, or I like a bit of NFL as well from America. So that's pretty much a perfect day. I love watching my son play footy. He plays AFL and plays cricket as well. So you know that's a really important part, because he's a lot better than what I ever was.
What would you say is a goal of yours? What's something that you hope to achieve one day? It can be professional, it can be personal, academic. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think I want to be, as a person, I want to be moving and active till I die. You'll understand that in a few years' time, Brett. On a professional note, you know, globally, but you know, impact, what I can impact is potentially hope to get exercise professionals in every dialysis clinic in Australia, and whether that be exercise professionals or students or exercise students who, you know, I just know, and I've seen exercise physiologists, physical therapists, kinesiologists in dialysis clinics and in kidney care programs, and they make a whole lot of difference to impact on a patient's quality of life.
Awesome, fantastic, sounds good. Yes. Now this question was come from the nurses actually out at Hampstead, and it came to me quite a while ago, and I've just always remembered it. Your shirt collection, for those that don't know you, you have a very let's just say a flamboyant shirt collection. It was always asked by the nurses where the inspiration for this shirt collection came from. So can you please share? I don't know. It's something that you just collect as you go. But maybe now you talk about the nurses, maybe it was because I had to wear a uniform for the first 15 years of my life. And maybe I'm rebelling against wearing a uniform, and suddenly I've got the capacity to put on different colours and different shirts, and also it does irritate some people. So I do like irritating some people with some flamboyant shirts. There you go, Paul Bennett poking the bear. You heard it first. Now, Paul, we're nearly at the end now. What we're going to finish off with is called our rapid fire session. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to read out a few quick fire questions, and all I'm asking for is a word or a sentence, just your first instinctual thoughts to each of these responses. Okay, are you ready? I'm not sure if I'm ready. Was that the first question? No, that was the first question. Yes, that's so simple. Dog or cat person?
Dog.
Favorite holiday destination?
Hawaii or Northern Italy. Two favorites. Northern Italy.
Very good. Yes. Funniest person you've worked with?
That's really hard. That's really hard. I'll say this guy called Jug Atwell,
Okay.
who I work with at Satellite. He was a project officer, but he was also a hemodialysis technician, and he is hilarious.
Awesome. Now, next question. Person likely to be upset that you didn't name them as the funniest person you've worked with?
I'd say Shilpa Jasudason.
Something that scares you?
Heights.
Favorite food to indulge in?
Chocolate.
Funniest thing you've ever witnessed during a Zoom meeting?
I did it last week, and it happens quite often when you take your presentation down and you're left with all your emails up there, and some that are quite significantly confidential, and your whole email is being shared to everyone else.
Silliest mistake you've made at work?
I was a first-year registered nurse, and I put a thermometer in an unconscious patient's mouth, and he ate it.
And last one.
That was only a week. That was only a week after I poured the contents of a colostomy bag into the sluice from too high, and it bounced back on me, and I got shit all over my uniform.
Shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. And last one. Do kangaroos drink beer?
Yes, they do. They do, and they go to pubs and sit on bar stools and drink with normal people.
And then box on after.
Box on after.
Paul, thank you so much. You've been absolutely wonderful. That was a fantastic little insights into a bit of your history and a little bit about you. Certainly appreciate your time. And for all those listening out there, look forward to the next version of the GREX podcast, which will be coming to you very, very soon.